The mystics' stations, maqamat. The Urafa maintained that in order to arrive at the stage of true gnosis, there are stages and stations that must be covered. Unless covered, the Urafa hold to arrive at the station of true gnosis is impossible. Irfan has a facet that it shares with Theosophy, Hikmat Ilahi, while many of the facets of these two disciplines differ. The facet common to them both is that the aim of both is knowledge of God, Ma'rifat Allah. They differ in that Theosophy does not aim solely at knowledge of God, but rather aims at knowledge of order of being. The knowledge that is sought by the Theosophist Hakim is of the system of existence, of which naturally knowledge of God is an important pillar. The goal of Irfan, on the other hand, is exclusively knowledge of God. In the view of Irfan, knowledge of God is total knowledge. Everything must be known in the light of knowledge of God, and from the point of view of Tawhid, such knowledge is a derivative of knowledge of God. Secondly, the knowledge sought by the Hakim is intellectual knowledge and can be likened to the knowledge acquired by the mathematician after thought and reflection on a particular mathematical problem. However, the knowledge sought by the Arif is experienced and witnessed. It can be likened to the knowledge acquired by an experimental scientist in his laboratory. The Hakim seeks certain knowledge, ilm al-yaqin, while the Arif seeks the certainty of direct vision, ayn al-yaqin. Thirdly, the means employed by the Hakim are his reason, deductions and proofs, whereas those employed by the Arif are the heart and the purification, disciplining and perfecting of the self. The Hakim seeks, through the telescope of his mind, to study the order of existence, while the Arif seeks to prepare the whole of his being so as to arrive at the core of reality. He seeks to reach reality like a drop of water in the search of the sea. In the view of Hakim, the perfection expected of a human being lies in understanding reality, while in the Arif's view it lies in reaching reality. In the Hakim's view, an imperfect human being is one who is ignorant, while in the Arif's view, the imperfect human is one who has remained distant and separated from his origin. The Arif therefore sees perfection in reaching rather than in understanding, and in order to reach the principal goal and the stage of true gnosis, he views the traversing of several stages and stations as being necessary and essential. This he calls Sayr wa Suluk, the signs of inward wayfaring. These stages and stations have been discussed in great detail in the book of Irfan. Here it is not possible to explain, even briefly, each and every one of them. However, in order to at least give a general impression, I believe that we can do no better than to turn to the 9th section of Ibn Sina's Al-Isharat. Although Ibn Sina is mainly a philosopher, not a mystic, he is not a dry philosopher, and especially towards the end of his life, he developed mystic inclinations. In his Al-Isharat, which appears to be his last work, has devoted a whole section to the stations of the Gnostics. The section being extraordinarily sublime and beautiful, we consider it more suitable for our purposes to present a summary of the section rather than citing or translating suitable passages from the book of the Urafa. Zahid, Abid, and Arif He who abstains from the enjoyments of the world, even its wholesome ones, is called a Zahid, ascetic, and he who is careful to perform worship, prayer, and fasting, and the like is called an Abid, devotee, and he who keeps his thought turned perpetually towards the realm of light in order that the light of the real shine in his breast is called an Arif. And sometimes two or more of these epithets may apply to the same person. Although Ibn Sina defines here the Zahid, the Abid, and the Arif, yet at the same time he is defining Zuhd, Ibadah, and Irfan. This is because a definition of Zahid, Abid, or Tarif per se includes implicitly a definition of Zuhd, Ibadah, or Irfan. Thus, the conclusion to be drawn from this passage is that Zuhd is abstinence from worldly enjoyments. Ibadah is the performance of specific acts like prayer, fasting, reciting the Quran, and the like, and Irfan is turning away the mind from everything but Allah and paying complete attention to the divine essence so that the light of the real may shine on one's heart. The last clause indicates an important point. One or more of these characteristics may occur in combination. Thus, it is possible for an individual to be an Abid and a Zahid and an Arif, an Abid and an Arif, or an Abid, Zahid, and Arif at one and the same time. Ibn Sina has not elaborated this, but he implies that although it is possible for one to be a Zahid or an Abid and not to be an Arif, it is not possible for one to be an Arif and not to be a Zahid and an Abid. One may be both a Zahid and an Abid without being an Arif, but an Arif by definition is also a Zahid and an Abid. So, although not every Zahid or Abid is an Arif, every Arif is a Zahid and an Abid. In the next passage, we will see that the Zuhd of an Arif differs in its goal from that of a non-Arif. In fact, the spirit and essence of the Arif's Zuhd and Ibadah are different from those of the non-Arif. The Zuhd of the non-Arif is a transaction by which he gives up the pleasures of the world for the pleasures of the hereafter. Whereas for the Arif it is something through which he dissociates himself from everything that keeps him from attention towards God, and he looks down on everything except God. Whereas worship for the non-Arif is a transaction by which he performs actions in the world for a reward, to be received in the hereafter. For the Arif it is a kind of exercise that is aimed at strengthening his self's intellectual and imaginative faculties, and which, by repetition, draws away the self from the realm of illusion to the realm of the real.